This is Golf with Jay Delsing. A two-time All-American at UCLA. A participant in nearly 700 PGA Tour events. 7 professional wins to his credit. Over 30 years of professional golf experience. A member of the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
Welcome into Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's Jay Delsing. Coming up on the show, 2 of golf's great ambassadors. In Hour 2, we'll visit with World Golf Hall of Famer Tom Watson. This hour, we visit with former PGA Tour player, current golf analyst on NBC. That's Peter Jacobsen. And before we start all that, I say, Jay, good morning to you. Can't wait to visit with these 2 greats in the game.
Hey, Danny, good morning. It's great to be with you, and it's pretty damn cool, the lineup that we're putting together, isn't it? I mean, I still marvel at some of the stuff we find out. I mean, I look at you as these guys tell us stuff, I'm like, what?
I can't wait. I cannot wait to visit with both, and kind of different sides of the spectrum. You know, one is a little bit off the cuff when you think about Peter Jacobsen and how he views the game today and the game of yesterday. And then Tom Watson, let's just face it, he's old school, man. He's old school golf.
No doubt. We've had Tom. You know, Tom was there in St. Louis for the Senja Charity Classic as in part of the Celebrity Challenge the first year and things like that. And he's hard nosed. He's hardcore. He's old school, man, through and through.
This show is formatted like a day of golf. We start by waking up, going over the biggest stories in the game. The PGA Tour wraps up the BMW Championship at Olympia Fields today. Jay, this course, 7,366 yards, and this is giving the players everything they could possibly want.
Oh, yeah. Danny, well, listen, this golf course has held multiple major championships. Most recently, Jim Furyk won the U.S. Open there, and the golf course is it's a winner. It's just a beast, man. And it's always fun to go to. You know, you could go to Chicago, Danny, and St. Louis has some great golf courses, but because of the size of that city, you and I could go there, play a different golf course 3 weeks in a row and go, better than the one we played yesterday. You know, you go to Medina, to Butler, to North Shore. I mean, it goes Skokie. It goes on and on and on.
Well, let's go back to a week ago. Lucas Glover became the first winner of a FedEx Cup playoff event outside of the top 25 in the past 5 years. He's 43, and his putting game, Jay, it's crazy how it's completely changed, what he's doing now. I've
sent him several texts back and forth, and I just couldn't be happier for Lucas. Back in the day when I was playing, he was a young guy out of Clemson and just a stud. You know, long and if you listen to his interviews, Danny, he's very eloquent. He's well-spoken. He's a smart guy. And, man, he's been up against it. He has been battling these yips for, almost 10 years. And you saw how emotional the win at Wyndham was. And then he goes back-to-back and wins at Memphis, and he beats Cantlay in a playoff. And, Danny, he putted the back 9 on Sunday. He hit it horribly and he made a 30-footer for bogey on the 14th hole. He made numerous up and down saves. I mean, his putter not only it won the tournament for him.
It did, and he's gone to the long putter. Get into that in a moment. But after winning last weekend, you said now he can be emotional, he can talk a little bit. Well, he was asked about other potential opportunities that may be coming his way.
I know this is happened kind of fast, but in the last, 5 starts, has the Ryder Cup gotten on your mind at all?
About 15 minutes ago.
What'd you think?
I think I've never made it, and I want to.
I'm not sure he's talking all that much there. He's pretty to the point from Lucas Glover. The question, I guess, is, has he done enough to be a part of the U.S. team for the Ryder Cup?
Oh, boy. Well, Zach Johnson said many, many months ago, Danny, and you and I looked at each other, he said, I really want these players to make this decision hard for me. Well, guess what?
It's got really tough.
It's got really, really difficult.
Some of those difficult decisions, some are easy. So let's start with Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Cantlay, they're all in. Brian Harmon, Brooks Koepka from Liv, Max Homa, Xander Schauffele, Spieth, Cameron Young, Morikawa. Those would be 10 guys right off the list. And then you're thinking Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns. What about Ricky Fowler and the comeback he's had? Justin Thomas, it's been a down year for him, but in Ryder Cups, he's 5-2-1, one of the best ever. Denny McCarthy, Tony Finau, Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, the list goes on and on.
And here's what's interesting, Danny. A couple names that come out to me on the negative side there. Poor Sam Burns. You know, we were on him. We've made money on him with some of our other shows and picked him. Danny, he has gone AOL. He's in the witness protection program right now. Where is he? Tony Finau is another guy. We picked him to win the Mexico event. He went out and won that championship. He has fallen on some hard times. So remember what I tell everybody, though. Every PGA Tour player makes 80% of their money 6 tournaments, man. It is a streaky endeavor. You get a guy like Lucas Glover, why would you not put him on there? He's the best player in the world right now.
100%. Another big story that continues to gain traction as we look at our news and notes, the upcoming book by Billy Walters. Now, there are explosive excerpts about Phil Mickelson, his gambling. Jay, allegedly, he bet over $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion on sports in a 30-year period.
It's just, and you know what the funny thing is, Danny? You don't make up random numbers like that. Billy Walters said something like 858 bets of $200,000 or more, and he wanted. I know when we had Alan Shipnuck on, he spoke pointedly about a couple of conversations that he knows about Phil's gambling, and then the Tom Lehman story at the President's Cup over at RTJ, and we know he was betting during the President's Cup. Then it's crazy.
Well, the other part was the Ryder Cup. You know, there was talk of him betting on the Ryder Cup, betting on his team to win. But it was interesting. Social media was actually backing him and saying, oh, this is great. If he's going to bet, might as well bet on himself to win, which he did. But, man, President's Cup, Ryder Cups, that's just not a good look.
What are you doing there, man?
Yep.
What are you doing there? You set yourself – I mean, if being in the spotlight isn't fickle enough, Danny, you're setting yourself up for some major problems here, dude. What the hell?
Do you pay attention, yes or no, at all to Live?
No.
Okay, I really don't either. No. Although I'm going to contradict myself and tell you, this past week I did watch a little bit.
Yep.
But this past week, Cam Smith shot and won. They only play 54 holes, as you know, but and some of these scores are bad. But he wins by 7 strokes in the event that they had. Brooks Koepka, you and I were talking about this off the air, finished 38th out of 48. Where is the motivation to compete for some of these guys?
I know. Think about this. The major season's over, Danny. You know, a guy like Brooks who fashions himself as this major slayer sort of guy. And now, I mean, walking through the motions, going, you know, who's practicing. But let's talk about on the positive side. Cam Smith winning by 7 strokes, Danny, in a 3-round event. That 3-round event is a sprint, man.
Yeah.
You can't afford to have 9 bad holes. To go out and beat, and look, that's not a great field. It's very top heavy. There's 10 really great players in that field. But to beat those 10 by 7, that's pretty awesome.
Let's tip our cap, and we're going to tip our cap to high school girls golf, which is just fired up along with all the other fall sports, but high school sports is here.
I love it. So I'm tipping my cap, and the Dean team. Want to thank Colin Burnt at the Dean team, Volkswagen of Kirkwood, 314-966-0303. Colin, thank you for the support. We have the high school girls golf season in full swing right now. I'm going to tell you this. When I was playing in high school, I was always pissed that we had to play in the spring.
Poor boys get the cold weather.
Oh, man, the greens were frozen. But anyway, let's not go there. The girls, and Avery McLaughlin, your daughter, is going to have a killer year this year. By the way, the same Avery McLaughlin made her second hole-in-one at a practice the other day, and she called me and was all fired up about what she wasn't doing well. But I said, wait a minute, tell me about the hole-in-one that you made. And she was like, oh, yeah, that was easy. I mean, you know, so
try living with her.
Oh, my gosh, it's just great. She's just great. It's fun to watch. But we're tipping our cap to that season. It's underway. Good luck, girls. Thank you, coaches. You have Coach Fromuth over at St. Joe that seems to win every single year.
Always loaded.
You know, that team is always loaded, so we'll be on the lookout for them. And we want to thank Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood and Colin Burnt. 314-966-0303. Any car you need, Colin's got it for you.
That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Again, our guests this morning, Peter Jacobsen and Tom Watson. Watson coming up in hour number 2. A reminder that this show is now 2 hours long, going from 8 to 10 here on 101 ESPN. And this has been news and notes from the world of golf. Up next, we head into the pro shop, and in honor of Lucas Glover, we'll get the latest in putting innovations. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
This has been PGA Tour News and Notes. Next, we head into the pro shop on Golf with Jay Delsing.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
The Legends of Golf return to St. Louis in 2023. You won't want to miss one of the strongest fields in golf. Ernie Els, Steve Stricker, Bernard Longer, John Daly, and many more when they compete for the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic title, September 5th through the 10th at historic Norwood Hills Country Club. All proceeds benefit area charities. Together, we were able to donate over $1 million to those most in need last year. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. And the reason we have them is because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and very easy. Their customer service is second to none. They provided my daughter with a loaner car when her Passat needed repairs. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester and Kirkwood, you'll become a customer for life because they'll treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Hi, this is Peter Jacobsen, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is From the Pro Shop. A look at the latest in equipment, apparel, and innovations in the game of golf. Now back to Jay and Dan.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and we're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. A reminder that Peter Jacobsen is right around the corner. Tom Watson, our guest in hour number 2. This is From the Pro Shop. I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's Jay Delsing. We format this show like a round of golf, and you may sign in, probably do, at the Pro Shop and look around, see what they have to offer. People are always looking for the best putters or the latest innovations in putting and technology. So in honor of Lucas Glover, who had the yips, goes to the long putter, if you will, the belly putter, chest putter, whatever you want to call it. Let's talk putting. You walk in, what are the best putters that you see out there?
I love the pro shop like that, Danny.
I do too.
love the golf shop. You walk in there, the wedges are in there. They have that little wrap on them. They're all brand new. You get to look at all the different grinds. Today we're talking about putting, and I love when I go over to Pro-Am Golf Centers, they've got this whole wall full of putters, and then every time I go in there, I'm always taking some new putter and getting to roll some putts. I got to tell you, Scotty Scheffler went to that Spider putter, which is really, really popular on the PGA Tour. It's made by TaylorMade, and I've hit some putts with it, and I got to tell you, I don't like mallet putters. This is a lot of stuff to swing back and forth. But, Danny, this putter swings really nicely. And for someone like Lucas Glover, he'd have gone to a hockey stick if you'd have told him he was good. He was at the end of his rope. He really was. And to have this, so he's gone to like the broomstick style putter where it's really super long pendulum type stroke, Danny, where his hands under his chest, not touching his body, and it's the fulcrum. And so the head is swinging from that point on. And I got to tell you, look at what he's done. I mean, it's
incredible.
It's a rebirth it couldn't happen to a cooler, nicer dude.
And there's other guys that have dealt with the yips that have gone to this. I think most notable probably would be Bernard Longer, who's having great success on the PGA Tour Champions. But it's interesting how some of these guys do it just a way to say, maybe it's a mental thing, whatever the case may be, just to get the right flow, as you talk, the pendulum, whatever. But these guys go to it and they find success.
Danny, it's different, and it's almost shockingly different because your hands aren't close together like they typically are when we putt, and the shaft is long. The weighting is different. You're not standing the same sort of way. You're much more bent over, and so you got this hand. That's your left arm is almost completely bent in order to have that fulcrum be there. And it's interesting. You watch Bernard Langer and his backstroke, holy moly.
Yeah.
I mean, you almost have to look away. And it's almost one of those things like, have you ever heard that it's like, I don't want to talk about this so much that I can't stop talking about it. It's like the look at the car crash, like you can't not look at it. You watch and you go, how did that putt go in? And he just walks over there and picks it out of the hole and goes on down the road.
Why are Scotty Cameron so popular right now in the game of golf? And it's been this way for a number of years now.
Yeah, because they were the first to market how specialized they got. They formed these out of blocks of steel. They were measured by lasers. Scotty had a really clever marketing scheme with this Circle T, which has really caught on and added a lot of value to certain putters. But it's interesting. I'll tell you a funny story about Scotty Cameron. He was at the Tour Championship. It was down in Houston at the Champions down there. And I don't know if you knew this, but Jackie Burke, a former major championship winner, Masters winner, is the owner. And Scotty Cameron's a young guy, walks in the golf shop and says, "Mr. Burke, I'd love for you to come and look at some of my putters if you have any time." Well, Jackie's he's in his 90s. He's a little cantankerous. And so he wandered over there late in an afternoon one day and he walked in and looked at him and turned around and walked out. Didn't say a word to anybody. And he's walking back to the golf shop. And Scotty comes running after him. "Mr. Burke, Mr. Burke." He said, did you see my putters? He said, "Son, those aren't your putters. You copied all the old ones, all the great old ones." So, I mean, but that's really what they've done.
Yeah.
There's not huge innovations that haven't been thought of before. They're just building a better mousetrap, and Scotty did a great job.
But he did make some that were just unique for PGA Tour players, correct?
Yes, and that's the Circle T, Danny. So, and a Circle T, when you have and I've showed, well, your son is putting with one of my putters right now. And so
thank you.
Of course. Hey, we just want balls to roll in the hole, baby. But when they have that logo on there, it means that is a putter that was specifically made by and for a PGA Tour player.
And you've talked about this a lot. We're going to have our teacher's corner later in the show, but you love the circle drill, the clock drill for those that are out there listening right now to improve their putting.
Absolutely. And the reason why, Danny, is it puts pressure on you. You got to go through your routine, and playing under pressure is one thing. Practicing where you're trying to duplicate the feel, the stress, the anxiety, that's important. It's important, especially for younger players, because they get into that that feeling that runs through you, the adrenaline, the heart pumping, the sweaty palms, the shaky hands, those things can be very disconcerting when you're young and you're like, whoa, my hands are shaking. And then I remember talking to a guy on the PGA Tour. He's like, oh yeah, my hands always shake.
Really?
I'm like, oh, and he goes, yeah, you just don't worry about it and just keep doing your thing. And you'd be shocked at how many putts you can make with your hands shaking. And it's true. It's almost gotten to a point, Danny, where like I know my hands are going to be shaking at the Ascension Charity Classic, and I'm looking forward to it because I haven't had that feeling in so long. And I used to get that feeling all the time. And so it's such a challenge to see how you're going to perform under those conditions. And I don't know. I might fall flat on my face, man, but I'm really excited. Yeah, let's find out.
We're off and running. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. Hour number 2, Tom Watson, World Golf Hall of Famer, our guest. But up next, he's been kind enough to join us. Matter of fact, waiting on hold. So a quick break. We'll come back with Peter Jacobsen on Golf with Jay Delsing.
That was From the Pro Shop. Next, we'll take you on the range. This is Golf with Jay Delsing.
I want to thank the Gateway section of the PGA again for supporting the Golf with Jay Delsing show. This is their 3rd year of support. Over 300 men and women in our area supporting golf and making our golf experiences so much better. Through PGA Reach, PGA Hope, the Junior League, and the list goes on and on. These are just examples of programs and charitable aspects, different opportunities that our section supports and enhances in our community. Whether it's a driving range somewhere, your country club, or whatever it is, and it has to do with golf, our section and their members will have their hands in it and involved in it. Our professionals are there making the game better for everyone. We want to thank the Gateway section of St. Louis.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient, it's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
You all know by now that Marcone is a fantastic community steward. From donating service dogs for our wounded heroes in need to supporting our men and women first responders through the Backstoppers. This year at the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic, Marcone will once again sponsor the military viewing deck on the 18th hole at Norwood Hills. This is a specifically designed area for our military, police and fire, and first responders. Marcone will have complimentary food and beverage, as well as ample seating for our friends to watch some great PGA Tour Champions golf from a perfect vantage point. And did I mention that entrance into the Ascension Charity Classic the entire week is complimentary? That's right, it's completely free for our men and women in the military, police and fire, and first responders. Reach out to us at ascensioncharityclassic.com or me at jay@jdelsinggolf.com for more information and tickets. It's Marcone, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. To connect with Jay, log on to jdelsinggolf.com now. Let's go on the range with Jay and Dan.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and we're on the range. Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Darty Business Solutions. Next hour, reminder, we visit with World Golf Hall of Famer Tom Watson. This hour, another huge name in golf, and that's Peter Jacobsen. Now, you see him on NBC's golf coverage, but he also had 831 combined starts on the PGA Tour and the Champions Tour, one of the great ambassadors of the game of golf. And Peter, thanks for jumping on the show with us.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, guys. It's always great to talk with you.
One of the things that I want people to understand about you, besides being a great golfer, talk a little bit about some of the business dealings. One of the things that I've always respected about you was you were also a businessman, and there are not very many of those guys out on the PGA Tour.
Well, along the way, Jay, I always had opportunities pop up, and I took advantage of those opportunities because you never know when you're going to make your last 3-footer. You never know when you're going to have to go in different directions, which is one of the reasons I started deviating or moving toward television. I started doing television back when I was 25, 26 years old, way back when the Skins game was still going on Thanksgiving weekend. I had that opportunity to do it, and I did it. But also along the way, I had an opportunity to create tournaments, which started the company that I still own, Peter Jacobsen Sports, where we create, we manage, we operate tournaments, PGA Tour events, specialty events, and then that led us to consulting as well. So we've consulted for some of the large corporations in the game. I was asked to be in a couple of movies. I did Dead Solid Perfect with Randy Quaid, and then Tin Cup with Kevin Costner, and I've written a couple of books. And with our buddy Payne Stewart and Mark Lai, we had the chance to do a rock and roll record. We did actually 2 of them with
my
Jake
daughters still
Flounders.
talk about it. They still talk about some of those songs, and we sing them. And then when Low Riser comes up, from the real version of it, the original version of it, they're like, Dad, this doesn't sound right.
It's so funny. I got to tell you this one great story. We get to play with a lot and get to know a lot of people, in the celebrities in the world. And at the AT&T, I got to know and play with Huey Lewis, the great rock and roller, Huey Lewis in the News. And we were sitting backstage one time, and Huey said, hey, maybe we could do a song together out there on stage. And Jan said, Huey, do you guys know Hitting on the Back of the Range? And which obviously is a takeoff on the great Hitting on the Back,
Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Yeah, by Otis Redding. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And Huey always laughs now whenever he sees Jan and I. He always goes, hey, do you think you know Hitting on the Back of the Range? So, yeah, we had a lot of fun. Believe me, I'm almost 70 years old now, and I can look back on my career. I wasn't the best player in the world, but I wasn't the worst player in the world. But I guarantee you, I had more fun than anybody in the world of golf.
Jake, I can remember playing with you and Huey, and I think we were playing at Spyglass, and Huey was kind of new to the game and had some struggles, let's just say, and he was really getting frustrated, and at one point he took his wedge and just kind of gave it a little backhanded whip towards the bag, and you looked over at him and said, hey, you're not good enough to throw a club yet.
That is another phrase that he always reminds me of. He says that when he would get mad now, he always says, Peter told me I'm not good enough to get mad. I'm not good enough to get pissed off. So it's good to be remembered in certain ways.
What's amazing to have 831 starts on both the PGA Tour and the Champions Tour, and now that has kind of come and gone, what is your competitive itch? What fills that competitive void in what you were doing for 831 starts, which is remarkable?
It's interesting, and I know I'm speaking probably for Jay as well, is that when you're in a competitive venue like we were, on the PGA Tour and the Champions Tour, that competitive fire never goes away. That itch is always there. I miss it. When I watch these tournaments and the Champions Tour events, I wish I were out there. I wish I had a tee time. I wish I was still competing. I wish I was still in the mix to have a chance to win. So that never goes away, but we always have to temper our expectations. So now as I've gotten older, and I don't hit the ball as far, I don't hit it as well, I don't practice and work on my game as much as I used to, but I still love to get out with my friends back home and my brother back out in Portland, Oregon, where I used to live, where I grew up. And we love to go play, and we still work on our swings. We still work on our putting strokes. We always want to be the best player we can be on that day. So that competitive itch never seems to go away, no matter what level you're playing at the time.
I want to focus on the U.S. Open for a minute. We got to play LA Country Club, and I know you played there, and it's just such a great venue, but I really felt like the USGA missed the boat with the spectator. The whole thing seemed so antiseptic and or something to me. Just it was just missing the real golf fan. And LA's a tough market. I get that. But what were your thoughts?
I was really honored to be on that broadcast team with NBC. I was there all week long, and it was really fascinating. I had played there as an amateur. I played there in college. I went to University of Oregon. So I played the Pacific Coast Amateurs there, and I had played at LACC over the years. And I think it's a fantastic golf course, one of the most unique layouts I've ever played. And I think the USGA maybe was hamstrung a little bit with the requirements that the LA Country Club membership had given them. As you said, Jay, it is a very tough piece of property. Can you imagine the value of that property downtown Los Angeles? Trying to get all those spectators and broadcasters and players in and out of the golf course. That was a logistical nightmare, and the USGA and LA Country Club membership, they pulled it off beautifully. I was so impressed, but I do agree the way the first tee and the 18th green sit, they didn't have a lot of spectators able to get close to the golf course. So it didn't really feel it almost felt more like a club event, like a member guest rather than a major championship. But I think that was simply due to the layout of the golf course. My brother David actually was the starter on the 10th tee there during the U.S. Open, and the 10th tee was right next to the 9th green. So every time he would start a group on the 10th tee, he'd have to look over and make sure that he was not doing it while guys were putting on 9. So I think a lot of times the logistical problems happen with the layout of the golf course, where the greens and tees are situated. But I love the golf course. I thought the tournament was great, and the finish was fantastic. Wyndham Clark, I've always thought, is a wonderful young man, wonderful story. He started his college golf at Oklahoma State, and he ended up at my alma mater, the University of Oregon. So he's a quality player, long hitter, strong player. So I was really proud to see him become the U.S. Open champion.
That's great to know, because you get a limited perspective on the golf course from TV, and I played there so many times. And you're right, the challenge is, it makes so much sense what you're saying, because literally the 10th tee, is 5 steps from the back edge of the 9th green. So that's great to know.
If you miss the green on the right, long right, uphill par 3, if you miss it long right, that ball's going to roll off onto the 10th tee. So my brother David said he would stand there on the back of the green, and he actually had to hold players. He'd just have to actually stand there and wave his arms and say, guys, wait, don't putt. I'm going to announce these players to go off 10. And as you know, being a USGA guy, standing on the tee with a coat and tie, and he looked official, so everybody paid attention.
Peter Jacobsen is our guest, and Peter, you're to be commended for what you've done on television. You're one of the best analysts, not just in golf, but also in sports. When you were playing, did you have any inclination that this might be something in your future? Did other TV guys come to you? Did other players? How did it all come about for you? And did you have any inclination that you might be doing this in your future when you were playing?
Well, kind of like Jay Delsing, I've got a gift of gab. Jay and I both, when we played,
does he ever?
Hit a shot, and then we couldn't wait to get back to our whatever story we interrupted to hit that tee shot on number 7. So I think along the way, I had some discussions with some of the network people about maybe doing television. And I started on network back in the early 90s. I started with ABC. I did that for a little bit, but I really had that itch to go back and finish playing. And then when I became on the Champions Tour, when I turned about 53, 54 years old, I had to have a hip replaced and a knee replaced. And Tommy Roy, the great sports producer for NBC, he came to me and said, would you have any interest in maybe doing some work for us? Which I jumped at, because I was down. I was rehabbing my hip and my knee. So I started with NBC, and I love doing television. It's the next best thing to being inside the ropes, hitting shots and putting. And what I've always tried to do is just get inside the player's head. I always try to tell the viewer what I thought the player was thinking. There were 2 things that I always wanted to do, and I learned this from the great Don Ohlmeyer. when I started doing television with Vin Scully at the Skins game was, number one, don't repeat what people can see on TV. Don't tell people that the ball's on the green, that it's 2 feet from the hole, that ball went in the bunker, that ball's in the fairway. They can see that. They can figure that out for themselves. And number two, tell them something they don't know. The Jay Delsing changed his driver before the final round. Brian Harman is trying a new cleat on his shoes today because he was slipping all week. Tell the viewer something they don't know, and that's all I tried to do. I always like to shut up and let the viewer listen to the birds chirping and the players talking with their caddy. Try to announce or present with brevity. I try to say a few words, make your point, and then shut up. Too many of the announcers I see on TV today, a lot of the kids coming into the game, it's almost like they're on radio. They talk nonstop. We don't need that. Television is TV is a visual medium. We can see what we need to see. Just try to fill in the gaps for things that I don't know.
I find that fascinating because you have learned over the years, I'm sure, to lay out, like you just mentioned, but also tell me something I don't know. So if you're trying to get to a player, how do you nurture the relationships, especially this day and age? Well, I'll use this example. I mean, a guy like Tiger, very tough to get to, very private. How do you try to get to those guys that are like that to give the viewer like myself something that I wouldn't know about them?
I think it's an invasion whenever you get to know a player personally. If I get to know Arnold Palmer, say, and I'm out to dinner with Arnold and I play a lot of practice rounds with Arnold, I think it's a bit of a betrayal of a personal relationship to mention some things that he tells you in confidence. But I'm not on there. This is not Inquirer TV. I'm not a National Enquirer writer. I'm going to tell the viewer on a golf broadcast something about their swing, their demeanor, the way they approach the golf course. And I've covered Tiger many, many times. Tiger is unrelenting in his desire to win. No matter what he does, he will always try to get the advantage to win. And I focus on that. That's the one thing about different players. Some love the moment, some don't love the moment. And if a player doesn't love the moment, tell me why. Tell me why you don't think that he is in the position to win. Now, with Brian Harman, there was a lot of comments made about Brian Harman's. They said, you don't have the stones to win. Of course, you're over there in England and you're in basically Tommy Fleetwood's hometown. So everybody's pulling for Tommy Fleetwood. So Brian, as Jay knows, he's a short guy. He's more like a Corey Pavin. He's 5'6", 5'7", but he's tough as nails. And when I saw that he had a 5-shot lead after 36, and the people were catcalling him, saying he didn't have what it took to win, I knew he was going to win. Because when you push players like a Brian Harman or a Corey Pavin, they're gonna overachieve and they are gonna win. So, but as a broadcaster, I need to tell the viewer why. Use my personal relationship with that player, like a Brian, like a Corey Pavin. Why is that player going to overcome the obvious deficits in terms of, like, for example, size and length off the tee? Why is that player going to overcome those situations and win? I don't think you need to jump in and say, yeah, Corey Pavin likes eggs over easy. I had breakfast with him this morning and he eats bacon instead of sausage. I mean, that's irrelevant in my opinion.
Hey, Peter, this is great. And if you wouldn't mind sticking through the break, we certainly would appreciate that. Peter Jacobsen is our guest. Tom Watson next hour. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Darty Business Solutions. The front nine is coming up.
That was On the Range. Up next, we tee it up as we head to the front nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Powers Insurance and Risk Management is a family-owned local business that's been helping our community for over 200 years. In the always confusing world of insurance, Powers Insurance provides clarity, exceptional service, and the latest in cutting-edge products to deliver the highest quality in property and casualty coverage, as well as strategic planning consultation services. Powers Insurance and Risk Management will partner with you. That's right, partner with you to customize the right coverage for you and your family. Tim Davis, the Chief Operations Officer, will personally sit down and talk you through the ins and outs of your policies. They are experts at helping you control your workplace expenses and helping to guarantee the safety of you and your employees and their needs. You can visit them at powersinsurance.com. That's powersinsurance.com for all of your insurance needs.
This is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center located in Kirkwood. Our motto is play your best golf. We have the best instruction for every skill level. 2 female instructors along with our 8 PGA instructors. We're there for the kids and the adults who are starting to play and trying to refine their game. Family Golf and Learning Center features a double-decker driving range, grass tees, and a short game area, along with indoor simulators and a performance center. That's not all. Don't forget about our back 9 bar and grill. Find out how we can help you and your family. Head to familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. It's Family Golf and Learning Center, where we make St. Louis better at golf.
This is Paul Lazinger, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing, and we golfers are always looking for ways to improve our games. For me, that means I want the very best and the very latest in equipment and in technology. The place for me is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened Pro-Am Golf Center in 1975, and ever since then, he and his family have provided St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and the latest in the ever-changing world of golf technology. Whether you are a scratch golfer looking to find the latest in rangefinders or a newcomer looking to find your first set of clubs, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. You say you're looking to get yourself custom fitted for a new set of clubs? You need to call TJ. He has fit me personally, and he is the best in town. If you mention my name, CJ will take 50% off the already low fitting price. So if you need anything from golf balls to a new pair of shoes or a lesson from Tom, who, by the way, has been helping St. Louisans play better golf for over 45 years, Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood is the place for you. You can also visit them at proamusa.com. That's Pro-Am Golf.
This is the Front Nine, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. To learn more, visit ascensioncharityclassic.com.
We move to the Front Nine, and our guest is Peter Jacobsen. A reminder that Tom Watson will be with us in hour number 2. I'm Dan McLaughlin. That's Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Peter, by the way, thanks for staying with us through the break. Jay, what do you got for Peter?
We had the great and gracious Barbara Nicholas on the show just 2 weeks ago, and one of the things that was amazing when Danny and I were doing our prep is the amount of money that just Jack and Barbara themselves have raised. And one of the things that sticks out in my mind when I think about you is the Fred Meyer Challenge and all of the things you've done for Portland. Talk to us a little bit about that. And then, Jake, also talk about the guys that you looked up to on tour when you were first on, because when I first got on, you were one of the people that I looked up to, and your business, with your business acumen and just your personality, it definitely was something that I really admired.
The game of golf leads us in that direction, Jay. I think when we start as young players on tour, we're always focused on us. I'm focused on me, you're focused on you. And we want to be able to raise our family and make money and accomplish the difficult task of becoming a champion on the PGA Tour. And once you win your first tournament and then you win your next and your next, you start to realize that you have a responsibility to give back. And that's the one thing that I always learned from people like Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and all the greats, the Ben Hogans, the Byron Nelsons, the Bob Goldies. I could go on and on, but that's the nature of the game. Once you reach your satisfaction, put it that way, you start to realize that there's a lot more in life, and it's time to quit worrying about you and start giving back to others. And I think nobody has done that like Barbara Nicklaus and Jack Nicklaus, and I would throw Arnold Palmer in there too, and also Tiger Woods. What Tiger Woods has done with his foundation, there really is no game like the game of golf to be able to give back to charity. Think of all the tournaments that we play and the communities we play in and the charities that those communities support. And as a result, that Jay Delsing and Peter Jacobsen, we indirectly support those communities and those charities by playing in those tournaments. But I think eventually it gets to the point where you want to make a point, you want to make a statement in your hometown. And that's what I did in Portland with tournaments like the Fred Meyer Challenge, and Brad Faxon and Billy Andre, they did that up in Providence, Rhode Island with the CVS Charity Classic that my company ran for so many years. But I think, as I said, when you talk about people like Barbara Nicklaus and Jack, they set the table, and they basically tell all of us young guys, this is how to do it. Once you make yours, once you become you, and you won your tournaments, it's now time to start thinking of other people and giving back. And nobody has done it like Jack and Barbara Nicklaus.
Peter, Jay has talked about this all the time. He says, man, it was my dream as a kid to play on the PGA Tour, to earn that card. And I'm going to assume that that was one of your dreams as well. And so having said that, when you see what's going on with the PGA Tour and what's happened now with LIV, just in a general sense, I think our fans that listen to this would love to hear your thoughts. But what are your thoughts on what's happened and transpired with that situation?
You're right. As a kid, we all want to gain our access to the PGA Tour by getting our card. We go through the tours, we go through the PGA Tour's qualifying school, we get our card. And then you use the PGA platform to be great, to win majors. Now, I never won majors on the PGA Tour, but a lot of these players that have won majors on the PGA Tour, that put them in the position to be able to accept that money to go to LIV. There's only one reason why you would go to LIV: money. That's it. You're not going there for the competition. You're going there for the money. And I would never question anybody's ability to take that money and go to LIV, because it's generational money. Let's face it. It's wealth beyond your comprehension. It's hundreds of millions of dollars. But what you're basically being paid for is to retire from the PGA Tour. All those players that went to LIV, we don't see them on the PGA Tour anymore. We see them in majors, but those four majors are not run by the PGA Tour. Those four majors are run by those individual organizations. So playing on the LIV Tour, again, generational wealth. I don't know if anybody could pay me enough money for me to give up my card. I worked so hard my entire career to maintain my card and to stay as an exempt player on the PGA Tour, that when somebody came along and offered me $100 million, $200 million, whatever number it would be, it would be really hard for me to say, okay, I'm going to tear my card up and take the money. I would have to understand that I'm walking away from competitive golf. And the players that did that, more power to them. But I think that it's disingenuous for these players to say, look, I'm taking this money, but I deserve to be able to play on the PGA Tour as well. So it's an unfortunate situation that's happened in golf, and it's confusing. It's confusing to players, to fans, to charities, to sponsors. It's a bad thing. It's a very bad thing what's happening and what's gone on. And I know the PGA Tour is trying to work its way out of a very unfortunate situation with this new deal with the public investment fund with the Saudis. But it's a very unfortunate and weird situation right now.
Peter, to further that, when our commissioner Jay Monahan came out and mentioned the word merger, and I think, Jake, not only in our precious golf world, our circles are small. You mentioned our sponsors and things like that. I believe that the advice, whoever was advising our commissioner, this is going to go down in the annals of the worst advice and worst prep anyone has ever done in the history of sport. Because if Jay comes out and says, hey, look, we figured out a way to end the litigation, and we really believe that's a positive thing, and we're going to explain that to the players. And now we have understood there's some things we need to reconsider. And he used the worst words he could use. And I got to tell you, and Danny will tell you this, I looked at him and said, what just happened? I mean, it's probably the worst day I've ever experienced, as we are so proud to carry a PGA Tour card. And I'm like, we just sold golf to the Saudis? What did we do?
Well, I'm gonna challenge that by saying I'm not sure that Jay ever used the word merger. I do know that in the press release coming out of the PGA Tour, that word was used. And I think it was used in the wrong context, because this is not a merger. You just said the right thing. We had to do this to get out of this very expensive litigation with that PIF, the Public Investment Fund, and this LIV situation. The Saudis, the PIF fund, they could litigate the PGA Tour out of existence, and they were well on its way. Don't forget, that's the only reason LIV started, was because the PIF wanted to get into golf. So they started LIV as a competition to the PGA Tour, and all it did was cause all this consternation and confusion in the world of golf. But I'm going to take the other side of that. I actually think that what Monahan and the advisors did was the smartest thing for the PGA Tour organization to be able to keep it in existence. I know it looks weird, and it feels weird to me, because we've always been fairly autonomous, and we've always kind of made our own rules and done our own thing. And here we've got this group now, this PIF, the Saudis, are coming in and they're dictating the terms. But I think what was done was the only thing we could have done. We had our back up against a wall. But back to what you said, I don't think Jay ever said the word merger. The word merger was inadvertently and it was used in the information that came out of the PGA Tour office, but it is not a merger.
Peter, before we let you go, my final question, I'm going to ask you about two players. One may be the face of the PGA Tour right now in Rory McIlroy, and another is Tiger Woods. Do you see Rory finally getting over the hump again and winning another major? It's been a decade now. And do you see Tiger Woods, simply put, competing again on the PGA Tour? Those two guys.
Well, first, Rory. I was asked that question many times yesterday from people about Rory. Is he ever going to come back? I do believe he will come back. Let's not forget, Rory's putting himself in position to win. And Jay, you would agree with me that I want to be in position. I want to be there in the top 5, the top 10 going into the weekend, because I have a chance to win. He just hasn't been able to make the right putts at the right time. He hasn't been able to get over that hump. I do believe he will. I do believe that once he wins his next major, which could be Augusta next spring, we don't know, the next major. We just don't know. The only person that knows is Rory. I think it's in his head right now. I think right now he needs to get over that mental hump. And I think when he does, I think we'll see him win. And with regards to Tiger, I think that's one of the really big stories in the history of the game, is how unfortunate we as golf fans have Tiger's brilliance has been stolen because of injuries. And that's the one thing that we all want to avoid as PGA Tour players, or any athletes in any sport, are injuries. Because when you think about what's happened with Tiger, he won the US Open in that playoff in San Diego, basically on a broken leg. And he's had Achilles problems, he's had back problems, knee problems, and now he has an ankle fusion. Will Tiger ever come back and win again? I don't know. I would never put it past a great player like Tiger, but it is unfortunate. I think if Tiger had played healthy and injury-free, I think he would have beaten Jack's record of 18 majors. I think by now he might have He might have 22 or 23. It's crazy to think about.
He might have even, Jake, had won 150 tour events. I mean, he would have just, I think the register would have just kept ringing, and nobody likes to beat people more than Tiger Woods.
Watching Tiger when he first came out on tour, I remember watching him up in Portland, my hometown, when he won his sixth USGA championship in a row, 3 U.S. juniors and 3 U.S. amateurs at Pumpkin Ridge up there. And then my caddy Fluff went to work for Tiger, if you remember that. And it was a hello world thing when he signed with Nike. I don't think people realized at the time the dominance and the brilliance of Tiger Woods back then. And now we look back and we think, wow, what could have been if Tiger had not had the unfortunate accidents and the health problems that plague a lot of athletes. I think about what would have happened, and I think about the journey he's had and the places he's been and what he's had to go through and come back from. And it's just, it's a story that is not completely been written yet. And I just wish nothing for the best for Tiger, because he's great for the game.
Oh my gosh, he is. Roger Maltby said he is the needle, Jake. One of the things that's interesting, and we've heard from, we have the Ascension Charity Classic here in town, and the kind of the driving force behind that, Nick Ragone, has met with Tiger, and he's actually mentioned the Champions Tour, which initially surprised me. And then if you think about, this competitive Jones that Tiger needs to kind of quench, there's no other place for him to go if the body doesn't rebound at least a little bit.
Well, interesting you say that. I'll be in St. Louis working for Golf Channel, so I hope our paths cross while I'm there. But it is interesting to see Tiger with his son Charlie. Plays in the PNC championship every year, and the father's son. I do believe Tiger will play on the Champions Tour because, as we mentioned earlier, the competitive fire, that intense desire to compete and to win never goes away. And here I am, almost 70. Jay, how old are you? You're like
62.
40.
Yeah,
45.
I have shoes that are 45 years old at home, Jake.
It never goes away. And I think with Charlie now becoming a teenager and going to play in high school, and then he's going to play in college, I think that's going to keep Tiger in the game, competitive, because he doesn't want his son to beat him. No, none of us want our kids to beat us, but I think that's going to keep Tiger in the game if he can play and compete. Because don't forget, Champions Tour, you can ride a cart. And I think you're going to see Tiger, hopefully we're going to see Tiger play well into his 50s on the Champions Tour.
Well, Peter, we could go on and on with you, and I'm excited to hear that you're coming to St. Louis for the Ascension Charity Classic. So dinner won't be on me, but definitely on Jay when you come to St. Louis.
I got you covered, Jake. I got you covered.
We get a $12.50 per diem from Golf Channel. So McDonald's is on me.
Denny's is right near my house, buddy. I live in a really nice area.
Hey, Peter, thanks for doing this. This was great.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'll see you guys in St. Louis.
That's Peter Jacobsen, a great visit with him. Up next, we'll make the turn, and we're halfway home on Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Hour number 2 will be with World Golf Hall of Famer Tom Watson. Stay with us.
That was the Front Nine on Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by the Ascension Charity Classic. We're halfway home, and next, we'll make the turn.
I want to welcome Redbird Heating and Cooling to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. You can reach them at 314-320-9507 or on the website redbirdhvac.com. CEOs Jed Dickinson and Jerry Pearson run the area's most responsive and dedicated heating and cooling company that's been conscientiously supporting the St. Louis area for the last decade. Just last month, when my air conditioner stopped working, Jed and his team were at my home at 7 a.m. to replace one unit and then repair the other. Your money, like it's our money, was Jed's statement to me, and the repairs for Unit 2 was less than $200. If you want to work with a family-owned business that you can trust, then call 314-320-9507 or visit them at redbirdhvac.com. That's redbirdhvac.com.
This is Dan McLaughlin, inviting you to the 21st Annual Dan McLaughlin Golf Tournament to benefit the Special Education Foundation. This tournament has raised over $5 million, and 100% of the money raised has gone to children with special needs in our community. To sponsor, volunteer, or to play in the event on October 9th at Norwood Hills Country Club, please visit sef-stl.org. I'll see you on October 9th at Norwood Hills Country Club.
WXOS HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return.
Hi, this is Nick Ragone from the Ascension Charity Classic, and you're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing for SSM Health Physical Therapy. Our golf program has the same screening techniques and technology as the pros on the PGA Tour use. SSM Health Physical Therapy has the Titleist Performance Institute trained physical therapists that can perform the TPI screening on you, as well as use the K-Vest 3D motion capture system. Proper posture, alignment, etc. can help you keep your game right down the middle. We have 80 locations in the St. Louis area. Call 800-518-1626 or visit them on the web at ssmphysicaltherapy.com. Your therapy, our passion.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're halfway home and it's time to make the turn. Let's get back to Jay and Dan.
Halfway home on Golf with Jay Delsing. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Coming up, Tom Watson in hour number 2. Let's go back, though, to who we just had on. That was Peter Jacobsen. I know you're very close to Peter. That was fun.
He is a great guy. Danny, the story, we got to tell the story about his son caddying for him. And Peter had hit it into so many bunkers.
And his son's caddying for him.
And his son Mick is caddying for him. He's about a 15-year-old kid, and this place in Castle Pines, Danny's right on a mountain. Jack Nicklaus course. We're playing the International up and down, and poor Mick had tried to rake these bunkers and didn't do a very good job. One of the players got pissed behind us because he'd hit it in the bunker and he had a bad lie, so the official comes up and talks to Peter. Anyway, we go to the 9th hole, and I drive it about 15 yards in front of Peter, and he's out in the middle of the fairway with his son, and they're deciding a club and everything. So I'm just kind of standing, 5 or 6 feet away, just waiting my turn. My ball's right in front of theirs, and he hits this shot, and he hits it just a groove thin. It's an uphill shot, it's back right pin. It's got another bunker carry, and as the ball is in the air, it's starting to come down, and it doesn't look like it's going to be. Not another bunker, Dad! Come on! And we just turned around and laughed at each other. It was so good. But,
how could you not laugh with something like that?
You got to laugh. I mean, it was just really good. And Peter is what his business sense and some of the things that he's done from a business standpoint. Danny, it was trailblazing, really, because there were not many other players like him.
I loved at the end of our conversation getting into the talk about, and he's around this obviously every day like you are, but he's covering it every weekend with NBC, and it's the idea that Rory could win another major and that Tiger Woods would come back and compete on the PGA Tour. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said, We've been robbed of seeing the true brilliance of what Tiger could have represented if healthy, off the course issues rectified, those kind of things. We've been robbed a little bit as fans.
No doubt. I mean, what would you give to watch him? I mean, just the style.
I go back and watch the highlights still.
Stuff. I know that. I still watch that one putt at Valhalla where he kind of walks it in, pointing at it, and yeah, a lot of the stuff is so self-inflicted, Danny, but still I feel like you just don't get an athlete like that comes along very often.
Not sure we'll ever see the likes of him ever again, and I do wonder, though, does he ever win again on the PGA Tour? And I just wonder if he ever tees one up on the PGA Tour again. Now, the Champions Tour, I could see it, get to use a cart, but on the regular tour, the PGA Tour, I'm not so sure.
I'm not either. I mean, I don't think we're going to see him again until probably his tournament and the father-son this fall and winter, and then Augusta. I mean, I don't know what it's like to have your ankle fused. I don't know what all of these. I'm sure that they've laid something out with the doctors, Danny, that said, this is what this is going to look like, and that's what that's going to look like, and here's what you can expect, because it's kind of what Peter alluded to. Most of everything he's been told is actually happening to Tiger. He's had this weird kind of bolt stick out of the side. Just
disgusting. It's been awful. Just
awful stuff. And I'll never forget this. You and I sitting together watching him at Augusta in the rain and the cold, and we're like, oh man, that looks miserable, man.
Miserable. You agree though? Do you think Rory wins another major on tour? Okay.
I do. I think so. I mean, one of the things, Danny, that I'm wondering about, and we're going to have a show on this later, but the modern day player and their body, how long and what sort of
their
career?
Backs.
And here's another thing, Danny. When you've made this much money, do you even care about golf when you turn 50?
Well, the LIV guys have proved that, haven't they? They've proven that. They don't. Some of it, the motivation is not winning. It's about just go make the most money I can make, and then I'm done. And you wonder about the motivation after that.
Yeah, and I'm going to gain a little weight. I'm not going to practice as much. I mean,
exactly.
We both noticed. I mean, man, Brooks Koepka looked like a hoss over there when we saw him last. I mean,
DJ looks a little bigger.
Yeah, DJ looks bigger. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting.
All right, coming up, we're going to visit with World Golf Hall of Famer Tom Watson. I think this is going to be a fascinating conversation. And I think we can get into how equipment has changed, what we're seeing now. Obviously, you played an era, too, where you had the persimmon woods going to what we're seeing now, the big heads on those drivers, the metal drivers. I want to get into that. I want to get into what he's doing with his foundation, and he's done great works in Kansas City, but also LIV. Just, what does he think of LIV and where we're at right now in the game of golf?
Absolutely. I kind of have a feeling I know what he's going to say, but I can't wait.
Got to ask it.
I absolutely can't wait.
So looking forward to that. That's coming up with Tom Watson, the World Golf Hall of Famer. So don't go anywhere. This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Tom Watson is coming up.
That was Making the Turn. Coming up, we head to the back nine. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
Daugherty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Daugherty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Daugherty Business Solutions.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
This is Dan McLaughlin. I hope you'll join me for a special night in St. Louis. It's called Hooray for Hollywolf, a benefit on Saturday, September 30th at the Sheraton Westport Hotel. We'll celebrate 25 years of Champ Assistance Dogs. Champ Assistance Dogs utilize the love and healing power of dogs to improve the lives of people in our community. This night will feature a silent and live auction, dinner, and a Champ runway show featuring assistance dogs, therapy dogs, and local celebrities. Find out more at champdogs.org.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. And the reason we have them is because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and very easy. Their customer service is second to none. They provided my daughter with a loaner car when her Passat needed repairs. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester and Kirkwood, you'll become a customer for life because they'll treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. The Back Nine is presented by Pro-Am Golf, located in Brentwood. See what Pro-Am Golf can do for you.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing, and we're presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. We've been teasing it all morning, the chance to visit with a Golf World Hall of Famer, and that is Tom Watson. Winner of 2 Masters, U.S. Open, 5 Open Championships, 39 PGA Tour events. And Jay, I know you had a chance to play with the great Tom Watson.
Oh my gosh, what a thrill it was for me. But Tom, first of all, thanks so much for joining us. Give us a little update on how you're doing physically, because I know you've had a couple of challenges lately.
Well, I did have a challenge. I fell off. I actually didn't fall off. I turned over a go-kart, stuck my arm out, and I ruined my shoulder, my left shoulder, and had to have it replaced. And right now I'm in my only job right now, Jay, is to rehab it. And I just came from pool exercises, and I work it out, constantly to try to get it stronger and more flexible. And
now, Tom, if somebody's listening to this, they're saying, "Now, what are you doing on a go-kart? It's not a golf cart. This was a go-kart, right?"
The whole story is that for my kids, I had a go-kart 25, 30 years ago for them, and they run it up and down the driveway here, and have a large time. They had a great time with it. And I have grandkids now, 10 through 6. And I said, well, I got to get a go-kart for these kids. So I got one. And I said, it's a little bit small for an adult. So why don't I get one? So I got one too. And I said, you know what? Let's build a track. So I built a go-kart track, a dirt track, and hairpin turns and straightaways and 90s and a few little bumps for, get a little bit of air in it. And we're having a large time, and I've turned around this corner, and the cart tipped over, and I stuck my arm out rather than keeping my arm inside the cage. I have a roll cage on there. It works just fine unless you stick your arm out. And so I screwed up my arm pretty badly, and so now I'm in the recuperative stage.
We've all had to rehab, and getting in the pool, I don't know how it was for you, but I really, really struggled with some of those pool exercises.
Well, they're great for me. I've had some other shoulder issues, and boy, they really, really help me. Just as far as the motion, the weight, you don't have as much weight. I can't lift my arm right now, up parallel to the ground, but in the pool, I certainly can. And so, I do a lot of exercises there. And it's gradually getting a little stronger and a little bit more flexibility. I'm having PT 4 times a week. So that's what I said is my job right now.
Tom, how often do you watch what's happening on the weekends with the PGA Tour? And a follow-up to that, who's the player that you really follow and say, that's the guy I'm going to watch?
Well, I actually am watching a little bit more golf now. I miss it. I miss playing golf and being able to swing a golf club. That's what I am. I'm just a golfer. And without the ability to swing a golf club, I really do miss it. So I'm watching a little bit more golf on TV. I was just at the PGA Merchandise Show this last week and saw the excitement down there in the golf industry. It was really well attended. They had 800 exhibitors this year versus 400 last year. So people are really excited about the game of golf right now. We're seeing it in the numbers. The greater numbers of people playing. And my goal right now is, and it always has been, since I got on the tour, is to create that passion for kids, especially to learn and learn to play the game with the passion that I learned to play the game with. We started with a program here before the first tee. It was similar to the first tee. We built 3 short holes, and we had an instructor. The kids came out and they were instructed how to play, and they go up in these short holes and learn and have fun, actually playing golf. And that kind of segged into the first tee program, which I got very much involved with here in Kansas City, and from that youth on course program, where we subsidized the kids' greens fees, their junior greens fees at courses, where the kids don't have to pay any more than $5. I love that program. And then we went to, I said, we need to get the kids out on the golf course with somebody who can play like I had. I had a dad or a pro, or my brother, good players. We went out and we played and had fun. We also learned something. We started, the Watson Golf Mentors Program, which this is the second year of it here in Kansas City, and it's expanded, and we're getting a lot of excitement and participation now early in the year right now, which is really exciting to me. And then add to that, over the years, playing golf, especially in the UK and Scotland, you see these small for lack of a better word, called wee links, little short golf courses. I mean, they're not very long. Actually, there's one right in front of the Turnberry Hotel. It used to be 12 holes, and now it's 18 holes. I mean, there's no shot longer than about 70 or 80 yards. I have a friend here who loves the game of golf with a passion with kids, and he built a wee links golf course. And what this is, it's built on an acre of land. There are 6 holes on that acre, 150 total yards. 30 yards, averaging 30 yards a hole. He puts 6-inch cups and 5-foot flags. He puts an artificial tee so you don't mess up the tee, and then he grasses it. Here in Kansas City, we use Zoysia grass, and we cut the fairways to a 1/2 inch and the greens to 3/8 of an inch, so that you can putt them. And we get kids just beginning with the game, teach them a little bit of the fundamental skills, get them on there, and have them have a challenge. Go from that tee to that cup. Take 2 clubs, take a 9-iron and a putter. And so we're starting to build those around Kansas City now, and trying to promote that everywhere. We think that it's very easily, you can build it for anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000. The maintenance is low maintenance. You certainly have to have a mower to mow the fairways, the grass, and if you tie into a golf course, they have the equipment. If it's a park, then you have to you have to determine how that course is going to be maintained. But we have a lot of excitement about the one course we built here, and projected. We're going to build a couple more courses, 3 courses probably this year. Just little type. We call them wee links. Jeff Bury, who was a pro at Pinehurst for years, and then at Prairie Dunes and Wolf Creek here, and he had a teaching and par 3 golf course out in Eudora, Kansas. He built that there, and he's had a great amount of participation with these kids. The kids go around there, and one kid's made 6 holes in one. How exciting is that? He has T-shirts that says, "I made a hole in one." So you get the kids really excited about playing. That lights the fuse. And if we can get the fuses lit for as many people as possible, kids and new golfers of any type, that's my goal in life, really.
You love sports, and I'm curious about this question and your answer in terms of advice that you would give parents today, because there's the specialization of sports for kids. What's your advice for parents that are listening to this nationwide from the great Tom Watson?
Don't concentrate on one sport. I know it's a difficult thing with kids anymore, because if they're looking to get good enough to get a scholarship to college, then their coaches and their parents, they say you have to play this sport all year round. I don't like that. I think that kids ought to have, they ought to have fun playing a variety of sports and activities outside. That develops certain skills, different skills. I played football and basketball, ran track, and of course played golf through high school, and actually some intramural sports when I was going to college. I think that develops a well-rounded body, and it doesn't burn you out. I think a lot of kids get burnt out with the programs that they get forced to do.
Tom, one of the things that strikes me is just a massive benefit from the game, and listening to you talk about growing the game and the future of the game with the kids. Tom, when I think back about the men and the women for that matter that I was introduced to because I could play well, because I caddied and just I hung around the golf course. Some of these lessons and these life lessons, they're invaluable for these kids.
Well, sure they are. Again, learning from an adult. I really kind of started this junior program because the caddies went away with the golf carts. You didn't have caddies at clubs anymore. You didn't have caddies. And of course, now caddies are too expensive. You learned as a kid. My dad used to he said, give me the newbie. I'll teach that kid how to caddy. And, by the way, when you teach him how to caddy, you teach him kind of the rules of the game and other rules that are beyond the game and stories that, the caddies listen to, the adults, and they get some real world experience and wisdom from the older people that they caddy for. It's the same way in with our Watson Golf Mentors program. We get older people. We'll get it. We get some older gentlemen to go out and play with these kids, and they have a great passion for the game. And they'll instill this passion for these kids, just like my dad and Stan and others did for me. And that's what I want. I want people, kids in particular, to get introduced to the game and learn to love the game and say, I want to play it.
You mentioned that you were at the PGA show, and when you played golf, Jay played golf, it was different equipment, clearly. So we've had amazing advancements in the game of golf. Do you think that's been good overall for the game?
Well, I do. I think it by making it easier to play, hit the ball straighter. You don't have to hit the ball right in the the absolute center of the golf club. It's made it easier for people to play, and they have more enjoyment when they play better. The USGA did an experiment with when the big-headed drivers, the big-headed metal drivers came out, the 460cc drivers came out. They did an experiment where they took that driver and they took a persimmon, the old persimmon head, which is a lot smaller, and they purposely they found the center of the face of the driver, and then they purposely hit the ball with their machine 5/8 of an inch off center from that center all the way around the clock. They found a tremendous difference in the distance that the ball went. With the large-headed driver, it only affected the distance by 5 yards with 109 mile-an-hour swing speed. That's a pro speed. With the persimmon driver, you lost 49 yards in distance when you missed it by 5/8 of an inch off center. And that you learn when you play that equipment. You learn that you learn how to hit the ball right in the middle of the club face all the time if you're going to be any good.
Tom, I'll never forget when they first came out with those Berthas, they said to me, Jay, you got to try to hit this ball high and on the toe. And I said, fellas, I'm still trying to hit the thing daggone square in the middle of this thing.
Well, they were right. The best place to hit that club is high on the toe. Actually, I saw a tweet that showed Colin Morikawa's 3-wood, and where he hits it is on the toe, a little bit high of center. That's where that's the mark that he puts on that 3-wood. So you learn the best place to hit the ball off that 3-wood.
How are you able to get so good at the game of golf growing up in the Midwest and in cold weather? And a follow-up to that would be, what do you practice? How do you get that good playing in cold weather if you're not in Florida, Texas, Arizona, so on and so forth?
Well, the old saying, you dance with the one what brought you. I only had this weather to practice in when I was getting ready for really put my nose to the grindstone and knew I was going to try to make it on the tour. And we had a bunch of crazy people at the club I belonged to loved to, they played in any type of weather. And we'd go out and we'd have 2-3 foursomes to go out and play, when it's, when the greens are frozen and it's 28 degrees out. I remember one of my favorite holes in one was on New Year's Day. Normally we played at 10 o'clock on the weekend. That was the time. But on New Year's Day, we said, because everybody was celebrating last night, let's make it at 11 o'clock. There's not a lot of light. And so we all show up at 11 o'clock. Well, it was 28 degrees. And the wind was blowing at least 25 miles an hour out of the north. And the greens are, they're totally frozen, just like concrete. Learning to play on concrete greens, man, now it's like a chess game. You have to figure out where, because the ball's not going to stop in the green. Especially if you have a bunker, you have to hit over a bunker and land it on the green. It's going to, take 2 hops and it's over. So where are you going to leave the ball and have the best chance to get it up and down? And it was great. So we came around to the 12th hole, and it's a downhill par 3 that I normally hit a 4 or 5 iron to, and it was about I took a 1 iron out, and I hit this thing, and I hit it right at the flag, and it hit short of the green, one huge hop, and then it hit on the front third of the green, another huge hop. And it slam dunked in the pin, made a hole in 1. Well, a hole in 1 with a 1 iron on a frozen green on New Year's Day. I remember that hole in 1 like it was yesterday.
I bet you your competitors can remember that hole in 1 too.
Absolutely.
That might have cost them a couple of shekels there.
It cost every one of them $50.
This is a lot of fun. Tom, if you can hold tight, we'd certainly appreciate it. There's been a ton of news concerning LIV and the PGA Tour. We want to get your thoughts on that and a lot more. Tom Watson is our guest, one of the great golfers that's ever played this game. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. We head to the 19th hole.
You all know by now that Marcone is a fantastic community steward. From donating service dogs for our wounded heroes in need to supporting our men and women first responders through the Backstoppers. This year at the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic, Marcone will once again sponsor the military viewing deck on the 18th hole at Norwood Hills. This is a specifically designed area for our military, police and fire, and first responders. Marcone will have complimentary food and beverage as well as ample seating for our friends to watch some great PGA Tour champions golf from a perfect vantage point. And did I mention that entrance into the Ascension Charity Classic the entire week is complimentary? That's right. It's completely free for our men and women in the military, police and fire, and first responders. Reach out to us at AscensionCharityClassic.com or me at jay@jdelsinggolf.com for more information and tickets. It's Marcone, proud sponsor of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
Family Golf and Learning Center. No matter your age or skill level, Family Golf and Learning Center, located in Kirkwood, has something for you. They've got it all. PGA and LPGA instruction, double-decker driving range, par 3 golf course, TrackMan simulators, a large short game green design to help you with all your shots around the green, bunkers, rough, and Zoysia fairway pitching. And now open, the Tahoma Bermuda Grass Tees, the best turf to hit from in St. Louis. It's all at Family Golf and Learning Center. To schedule a lesson or to find out more, visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. That's FamilyGolfOnline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
The Gateway section of the PGA, led by Allie Wells, is the center of golf for us here in St. Louis. With over 350 men and women in the organization, you'll be hard-pressed to find a golf course, driving range, or practice facility where one of these men and women members are not present working tirelessly to enhance your golf experience. From PGA Reach, the charitable foundation arm of the section, which raises and donates millions of dollars to the needy in our community, to PGA Hope, that helps and supports our former military through the game of golf, to the PGA Junior League, which has turned out to be a game changer for creating opportunities and bringing more young players into the game. Our Gateway section remains committed to growing the game of golf. Again, at this year's Ascension Charity Classic, PGA Reach will be one of the benefactors of our Legends Charity Shootout, where half of the money raised will go to PGA Reach. The Gateway section of the PGA, helping us all enjoy the game we love.
Hello, friends. This is Jim Nance, and you are listening to Golf with my friend Jay Delsing.
This is Golf with Jay Delsing. We're winding down, and it's a stop at the 19th hole.
This is the 19th hole. Our guest, Tom Watson, winner of 39 PGA Tour events, 2 Masters, a U.S. Open, 5 Open Championships, and he's been kind enough to join us on this Sunday morning. It's Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Darty Business Solutions. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Tom, there's been so much news out of golf with LIV and the PGA Tour. Simply put, how do you compare the two?
Two different competitions. One is the way I look at it is the proper competition. PGA Tour, it determines the best golfer right then and there. You have to make a cut. You play 4 rounds. That's the way. That to me is the proper way of playing professional golf. The other tour is an exhibition tour, and I'm not taking anything away from the quality of players out there, but there's not very much pressure out there. It's when you're playing the PGA Tour, there's some pressure. There's 2 different types of pressure situations that I see between the 2 tours, and that's a big difference.
When I dreamed of playing on the PGA Tour, going through the qualifying school, I always wanted to try to assess myself against the greats. You were one of my heroes when I was growing up, and especially being from the Midwest.
That's what we did. We wanted to. We watched the best players out there because we wanted to maybe someday be like them. That's when I came out here. I was told by the pros here when I played with a bunch of the pros here in Kansas City on Mondays when the clubs were closed, and when I when I qualified for the tour, I basically said, "What do I do when I get on the tour?" Every one of them said the same thing: you go and watch the best players out there. You watch them practice. You try to play with them. You watch how they strategize around a golf course. That's how you learn to be the best player. I watched Nicklaus. I watched Snead when he came out. When he was out. He actually was playing when I first started. Trevino, Johnny Miller, Gene Littler. I watched Arnie. I watched the greats. And in particular, I watched Jack Nicklaus because I tried to play. I watched him what clubs he hit off the tees when he was playing. He wouldn't necessarily hit driver. He was a long hitter, but he took, Jack was the best, I think, at assessing the risk of every shot to make it as risk-free as possible. Sometimes, some of these guys out there, they don't understand the risk of, say, missing the green to the left and short side yourself. It's going to be an automatic bogey versus one time where you short side yourself. Well, it's not that bad of a short side. Jack was always the best at that, and I watched him. I emulated his golf swing when I was a young man. I got more upright, learned to hit the ball higher and left to right, and I had that part in my arsenal. So I had to evolve into being a good player, but I watched the best players play all the time.
In 1977, in that Open Championship, and you mentioned Jack, so I got to ask you, at Turnberry, it's one of the great events when you talk about the history of golf. But I'm curious, what did that do for your relationship with Jack?
It's kind of like, what the Open Championship at Turnberry did after I won the Masters, and Jack was right in. We were in the mix. We're tied almost the entire back 9. At the Masters, and I birdied the 17th hole, and he bogeyed the 18th hole, and I won by 2. That was that was big. That was my first Masters win, and but the way I looked at it, I say, well, I need to confirm that. I need to keep confirming. Can I beat the best in the game? And when I won at Turnberry, walking off the green, Jack took me. He took his arm, put it around my neck, and squeezed it hard, and said, Tom, I gave you my best shot, but it wasn't good enough. And that one line, it just said to me, well, I can play with the big boys now. I can do it. I can beat the best. And my career really took off after that.
How did you learn to win? How did you learn to get over the hump? You had been so close, and then all of a sudden it kind of clicked for you. You mentioned the Masters and then Turnberry and a bunch of events after that. You're starting to win. How did you learn to win?
First of all, I learned to win by hating to lose.
There you go.
And I lost a lot. And I had leads and I blew. And but finally, I found an element in my swing that I could trust more so than any time in the past. And that I got that in late '76 and took it to the tour in '77, and it worked out. I mean, it gave me the confidence that when I was in competition, under the pressure, that I could perform, and I did perform. And the more I did perform and won, which I did a lot that year, it boosted the confidence that I'm doing the right thing. But you never those things in your golf swing, they never last. Jay, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you feel like you have the golf swing down by making a certain move, and then you use it, and then you lose it. It doesn't work anymore. Then you have to find something else, and that's what I did. I was constantly trying to improve my golf swing, refine it, and improve it, and never gave up on that. And never sat. I never sat idly as far as I was concerned about I was concerned about my golf game. I always tried to improve.
Tom, it's unmistakable to me. I've had the privilege of getting to hang around you, compete with you, that there's still a hell of a burning desire. I hear it in your voice. There's something about this game where it bites us, and I don't know if it ever lets go.
Well, it never does. Like I said, with this injury, I'm a golfer, and I miss it because I can't play. I can't swing. The game is, I want to pass that on, Jay. I want to pass that on to young people. I want that passion and that desire to play the game the best you can. You know what that does? If you can teach kids in sport to play the best they can and give it, really give it absolutely everything they have to be the best in everything, every shot, every dribble, every pass, every block, every putt, every bunker shot that you have, that translates into doing the same things outside of sport in life. Bottom line, going to a job, doing the best you can. Your boss says, here's a project and why don't you get it done? You do it the best you can. You don't take any shortcuts. You know that, sometimes you're going to fail. And failure really breeds success. There's not a question that's part of the formula of becoming better in anything you do. You have to fail. You can't just immediately go in there and have success. And some people may have the natural talent like that, but they're going to fail. If that failure doesn't breed a desire to not fail again and do the right things that cause the failure, avoid the wrong things that cause the failure, and learn about that, and they will improve.
Anybody that's listening to this is getting the idea of how charitable you are. You have raised millions of dollars to get kids in the game. What you've done for ALS with your longtime caddy and Bruce Edwards, pancreatic cancer. I guess the general question, Tom, would be, why do you think golf and this game is so charitable?
Well, it's pretty easy. What we love about the game is that I can go and play with a 30 handicap, and I say, I say, what's your handicap? Well, 30. Well, I have to give you 2 shots. I have to give you these shots, and we can go and we can play a real game, a competition against each other.
That's like me and Jay playing
fair and have a fair and literally have a fair competition if your handicap's honest.
Not many of those out there, Tom. I don't know. That's a whole nother show, I think.
Yeah, that's what I love about the game is that you go out and you have a fair competition. This group of idiots that we used to go out and play on the frozen greens, they all have different handicaps, and we play a game called Birdie Bogey, which was a Stableford type of thing where you got points for pars and negative points for bogeys and birdies. You had positive points, and at the end of the day, you tallied up how many points you had, and it was all based on handicap. That was fun. And it kept us on. Kept our nose to the grindstone when we were playing. I was playing just as hard playing against these guys as I was against Nicholas at Turnberry in in 77.
Tom, one of the things as a person that's admired you, looked up to you, there was always talk amongst my peers about the Watson character. Some of the things that, whether it's the way you were raised, the Midwestern, all of those sort of things, we talk about how honest the game is. We call penalties on ourselves. I know that you had several incidences, like at the 91 Masters, when there was a heckler with Ian Woosnam, and you were like, hey, man, we don't do this in golf. And can you talk a little bit about that? And in our world today, it just seems like there's less and less of that.
Well, yeah, I think the world today has changed. I call it the casual Friday world. We don't have the respect for the people as we used to have. The bottom line, and respect each other's opinions, respect the way people look and dress and all that. We've become casual Friday, and I miss. You know what I miss? I miss the style that the golf pros used to have on the tour, where they dressed. They really were impeccable. They really took pride in how they dressed. From Byron Nelson, you saw the players. Byron, Arnie, Jack, not so much when he first started, but then he got the word that said, Jack, you got to improve your dress from the old guys. And the way they presented themselves, the way they looked in the golf course. I kind of miss that. The styles today it's all athletic. There's nobody wears leather shoes anymore. It's all athletic shoes. And I guess that's the look. And, we took pride in how we dressed, and looked, I think, a little bit more than the kids today do. But it's part of the society. It's the casual. It's casual part of the society that in the informality of it. It has changed. But the game still has the element of the honesty that we play by the rules. If you don't play by the rules in the game of golf, you're chastised. You're a pariah. Not like that in other sports. And I go back. Tennis is a good is not a good example, because I believe tennis. The players themselves they call the balls. Of course, you have the Cyclops or whatever the electronic lines caller now. But I remember watching John McEnroe play in the U.S. Open up in New York, up in Flushing, and he played this match, and it was a night match, and there was a lines call, and he did, you can't be serious, like this, and the lines call went against John McEnroe, and then another lines call came, and he said, and it went for John McEnroe, and he said, you can't be serious. He was defending his opponent. His opponent's ball was. It beat him, but the lines judge called it out, and so he defended the integrity of the game there. And I always, he was always kind of a loud mouth and like that. But when I saw that, I said, this guy has integrity about the way the game of tennis should be played.
Tom, you've done so much in the game of golf. You continue to do it. So my final question is, what's left to accomplish? What's left on the table that you'd like to get under your belt?
It gets back to the earlier part of the conversation. I want to inspire, especially kids or anybody, to play the game. I want to show them, by example or my passion for the game, a passion that they can learn to have and to learn to learn the game and all of a sudden fall in love with the game. Be lifetime golfers. That's what my foundation, and that's the simple goal, is to create lifetime golfers, no matter what ages they are, but especially kids.
Tom, I so appreciate your time. You inspired me as a fellow Missourian and as an icon on the PGA Tour, and I look forward to when you get that shoulder in good shape and get the hitting balls again.
Well, I can't wait to do that. I hope it's sooner rather than later.
And Tom, follow up to your foundation. Best way for people to get a hold of you or to at least donate to the foundation to keep that passion for golf going?
It goes through Central Links Golf here in Kansas City. Then we go through the First Tee here in Greater Kansas City, the First Tee organization here. We support those groups. We support Youth on Course here in Kansas City. that it goes through Central Links Golf. So Central Links Golf is a good place to kind of go peruse and see, the programs that they have, and the First Tee of Greater Kansas City. Those two websites there are good to see what's going on here.
Well, this has been amazing, Tom, and I can't thank you enough for doing this. Thrill for me to visit with you, and I know Jay feels the same way.
You're welcome. Take care.
Great, Tom. Take care.
All right. So long.
That was amazing. Tom Watson, our guest on Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions. Up next, the Teacher's Corner, and also some thoughts on Tom. We'll be back in a moment. This is Golf with Jay Delsing, presented by Daugherty Business Solutions.
I want to welcome Redbird Heating and Cooling to the Golf with Jay Delsing show. You can reach them at 314-320-9507 or on the website redbirdhvac.com. CEOs Jed Dickinson and Jerry Pearson run the area's most responsive and dedicated heating and cooling company that's been conscientiously supporting the St. Louis area for the last decade. Just last month, when my air conditioner stopped working, Jed and his team were at my home at 7 a.m. to replace one unit and then repair the other. Your money, like it's our money, was Jed's statement to me, and the repairs for Unit 2 was less than $200. If you want to work with a family-owned business that you can trust, then call 314-320-9507 or visit them at redbirdhvac.com. That's redbirdhvac.com.
For the best in Italian cuisine in St. Louis, look no further than Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield. It's traditional Italian cooking, and their best ingredient? It's their tradition. It's cooking like Paul's grandmother used to make, and like his mother still prepares today. There are no corners cut at Paul Manno's. From greeting you at the door to the pasta you'll share with your family, Paul Manno's is committed to bringing you their very best anytime you share a meal at their place. It's Paul Manno's, located in Chesterfield.
Hey, this is Jay Delsing, and we golfers are always looking for ways to improve our games. For me, that means I want the very best and the very latest in equipment and in technology. The place for me is Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood. Tom DeGrand opened Pro-Am Golf Center in 1975, and ever since then, he and his family have provided St. Louis with the finest in golf equipment, instruction, and the latest in the ever-changing world of golf technology. Whether you are a scratch golfer looking to find the latest in rangefinders or a newcomer looking to find your first set of clubs, Pro-Am Golf has just what you're looking for. You say you're looking to get yourself custom fitted for a new set of clubs? You need to call TJ. He has fit me personally, and he is the best in town. If you mention my name, CJ will take 50% off the already low fitting price. So if you need anything from golf balls to a new pair of shoes or a lesson from Tom, who, by the way, has been helping St. Louisans play better golf for over 45 years, Pro-Am Golf in Brentwood is the place for you. You can also visit them at proamusa.com. That's Pro-Am Golf.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. At FGLC here in Kirkwood, we feature a double-decker driving range, 2 large grass tees with Tahoma Bermuda grass. You want to work on your short game? We have a short game area too, which features a 20,000 square foot green, 3 bunkers, and Zoysia surrounds. Also at Family Golf and Learning Center, don't forget about our 9-hole par 3 course, the indoor TrackMan simulators, and our performance center. If you're looking for the best golf instruction, regardless of skill, we can help. Find out more at familygolfonline.com. That's familygolfonline.com. Family Golf and Learning Center. We make St. Louis better at golf.
Powers Insurance and Risk Management is a family-owned local business that's been helping our community for over 200 years. In the always confusing world of insurance, Powers Insurance provides clarity, exceptional service, and the latest in cutting-edge products to deliver the highest quality in property and casualty coverage, as well as strategic planning consultation services. Powers Insurance and Risk Management will partner with you. That's right, partner with you to customize the right coverage for you and your family. Tim Davis, the Chief Operations Officer, will personally sit down and talk you through the ins and outs of your policies. They are experts at helping you control your workplace expenses and helping to guarantee the safety of you and your employees and their needs. You can visit them at powersinsurance.com. That's powersinsurance.com for all of your insurance needs.
Hi, this is Adam Betts from Family Golf and Learning Center. You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing.
This is the Teacher's Corner. It's time to get a lesson from a PGA Tour professional. To submit a question, log on to jdelsinggolf.com. Let's get back to Jay and Dan.
A tremendous visit with Tom Watson, the World Golf Hall of Famer. We call this Teacher's Corner. That's Jay Delsing. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Golf with Jay Delsing, heard every Sunday 8 to 10 right here on 101 ESPN. That was a lot of fun to visit with Tom Watson.
Danny, it's hard to sit there and have those guys back to back and not think, what a contrast. You know what I mean? Just both really knowledgeable, both love the game, but different perspectives entirely.
Peter Jacobsen in hour number one, Tom Watson just moments ago. How about the number that he threw out there with the difference? And I can't quite remember exactly what the number was, but the difference in the drivers.
Yeah.
He said the average, let's say, tour speed, the head speed was swing speed, 109 or whatever it was, but it was like a difference of 40 to 50 yards on what you're talking about with the driver.
Yeah, it was like 47 yards or something like that.
Crazy.
And Danny, one of the things that stands out the most to me about the difference in the old Persimmon compared to these new big-headed drivers is the mishits.
Yeah.
When you miss,
forgiving, isn't it?
You get this thing off the toe and it still screams a mile. And we were playing just yesterday and I hit a couple off the toe and it was almost indistinguishable from a good one. It just stayed in the fairway and went out there. When you hit it off the toe with that wooden thing, Danny, it was almost like the club broke.
Well, I also liked what he had to say about LIV. Simply put, it's an exhibition. It's 3 days of an exhibition, and that's how he views LIV.
Yeah. He just kept it. I mean, there wasn't even any room for wiggle in there.
No.
He just said, this is what it is, and next.
How about that? 2 Masters, a U.S. Open, 5 Open championships, and very well probably should have been 6.
Oh, man. Danny, might have been the greatest feat in the history of
I'm
golf.
with you on this one.
He won at Turnberry in 2012. And for lack of either 6 inches less roll on that last shot. I mean, it was right at the flagstick. It almost hit the flagstick, and incredible. At 59 years old, he would have won the Open Championship.
So it brings me to this. We do have some questions coming in. Jay at jdelsinggolf.com, the email to Jay to ask questions or to get golf balls. We're going to give those away in a little bit. But Mickelson's finish at the Masters this year and then his most recent PGA, those are 2 great feats too.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know which is better. I mean, Phil has really been not even heard from since he won the PGA Championship at 50 years old. And then he comes out and fires his back 930. What did he shoot, 32 at Augusta?
32.
And finished solo second. And I'm thinking, the way Phil was closing, if John Rahm stumbles at all coming in, Phil's going to win this thing.
He was crazy.
It's just absolutely crazy. And look, Phil Mickelson's ability to play the game of golf has never been in question. We could banter back and forth, Danny, about some of his strategies and some of the course management and why did he hit driver in the last hole of Wingfoot in 2006 and et cetera. But his talent and his grit and
ability.
Second to none. I mean, Danny, let's face it. He was Tiger before Tiger.
Yes, he was.
And then he was kind of Tiger A-. Tiger comes out A+ and wins 82 times, and Phil's 46. But do you think about this? Phil Mickelson never got to number 1 in the world, which is ridiculous.
We were talking about that the other day. That to me is hard to imagine that he was never number 1 in the world.
He never got to the number 1 ranking because of Tiger.
All right, let's give away some golf balls. How do we do this?
Guys, send me an email, jay@jdelsinggolf.com, spell Jay on both ends of that. Just put in a little note, put subject matter balls in there, do something, and we give away a dozen balls each week, and we just sent 5 dozen out last month. We sent them out at the end of the month. I'm getting loads and loads of emails, guys and gals. I really appreciate that. We appreciate Jeff Thornhill at the TaylorMade Golf Company for the support, Thorny. We appreciate you, man. And the TP5 balls, you got Danny Mack. You got they're customized. You got a little nickname on there. It's just absolutely perfect.
Well, we also have some emails coming in. This is Jane in South City. Said, guys, heard you talking about the putting drill What is it called? I heard circle, I heard clock. What is it, and how do I do it?
Yeah, we talked about it just briefly, but it's called, you can call it whatever you like, Jane, but basically take 4 balls and put them, depending on your handicap, but let's say we're going to start you 2 feet from the hole, Jane. So put 4 balls around symmetrically around the hole. Each ball is 2 feet away. What it does by putting it around the hole, it gives you'll usually get a couple of straight putts. You'll get a left to righter and a right to lefter. And so then, Jane, you go through your routine and you knock all 4 of those balls in. Then once you accomplish that, you go to 3 feet. You put the 4 balls around there and do it from 3 feet from the hole and knock all 3 of those in. And then you go to 4 feet. And this is where it gets interesting because those 4-footers, they look fun. But Jane, the kicker on this is so you're required to go knock all 4 of those in, and then the drill is complete. However, if one of those lips out, you got to start over. You got to go back to the 2-footer. And here's where it gets dicey, Danny. That first time you miss, you're like, oh, well, the second time you miss, it starts playing with you. It starts getting in your head. And now you're like, how long am I going to be here? Well, look, I was supposed to be,
That's the tough part of it.
That's the tough part of it. And then where's your concentration? Let's get your focus back. You can do this. It's what is it? It's 12 putts, and 4 of them are 2-footers. 4 of them are 3-footers. 4. Just stay in there, hang in there with the concentration. It's amazing if you do this. Just do this drill 2 days in a row, folks, and send me an email and tell me how you feel about your putting. It's absolutely ridiculous how positive the positive impact that small drill has on your game.
We have an email from Steve in North County, and it says, I'm paraphrasing, Jay, I'm a North County boy just like you, so I'm putting a little money on you at the Ascension. Please tell me it's a good investment.
Oh, man. How much are we putting on there, Steve? No, I really appreciate it. My game, I haven't played much in the last 10 days because I had just a stupid injury, but I got a cortisone shot. I'm feeling good. It's going to be pedal to the metal from this point on through the championship. We're less than 3 weeks out. Norwood is in phenomenal shape, and I just can't wait. I have no idea, Steve. I have been playing really, really good golf. So save your money. Put a little on there just to make it interesting, and I'll throw some in there with you.
Final question as we wrap up the show. Kevin in Kirkwood wants to know, what is the toughest shot in golf?
Oh, the toughest shot in golf, you hear this all the time. I would say, Danny, it's the long bunker shot. It's a green side, not a fairway bunker shot where you're out there with 150 yards or something. It's that 50 to 60 yard, 45 to 60 yard wedge shot from the sand. And then typically if you get that tiny bit uphill, your margin of error is very low. It's hard to clip just the right amount of sand and really easy to hit that fat. One thing I'd recommend, folks, when you're trying this shot is try something other than your 60-degree wedge. Go to your 56 or go to your 52 and try that a little bit because that less loft can really, really help.
Awesome show, my man. This was great with Peter Jacobsen and Tom Watson. Your insight, a lot of fun to do.
Oh, Danny, I love being with you. Thanks for doing it with me. 4-time Emmys. I don't have those hanging on the wall. I don't have them on the wall. It won't anytime soon. That's for damn sure.
How do we end the show, Jay Bird?
Get them straight, St. Louis. Darty Business Solutions has been enhancing the business of our customers for the last 37 years. How do we do it? Through our expertise in technology, better use of data and analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We roll up our sleeves and collaborate. We build applications and effectively communicate with our partner clients to bring their goals and objectives to the finish line. Our award-winning Access Point program is a community game changer. With nearly 100 students in the program, mostly young African-American females are making between $55,000 and $60,000 per year right out of high school. That's right, $55,000 to $60,000 a year right after high school graduation. That's when they begin their training. CEO Ron Darty believes the talent is equally distributed, but access to that opportunity is not. So here's Access Point, providing more and more opportunity for those in and around our community. It's Darty Business Solutions.
The Legends of Golf return to St. Louis in 2023. You won't want to miss one of the strongest fields in golf. Ernie Els, Steve Stricker, Bernard Longer, John Daly, and many more when they compete for the 2023 Ascension Charity Classic title, September 5th through the 10th at historic Norwood Hills Country Club. All proceeds benefit area charities. Together, we were able to donate over $1 million to those most in need last year. Visit AscensionCharityClassic.com.
If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, any make or model, then you need to visit the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. They are the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show. My daughter and I both drive vehicles supplied by Colin and the Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood. And the reason we have them is because we know we can trust them. They made the car buying experience painless and very easy. Their customer service is second to none. They provided my daughter with a loaner car when her Passat needed repairs. Every single step of the car buying experience was taken care of for us. You can reach Colin at 314-966-0303, and he will answer all of your questions and put your mind at ease. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood has new or pre-owned vehicles to be purchased or leased, whichever you prefer. Once you visit the Dean Team Volkswagen on Manchester and Kirkwood, you'll become a customer for life because they'll treat you like family. The Dean Team Volkswagen of Kirkwood, the official vehicle provider of the Golf with Jay Delsing show.
You're listening to Golf with Jay Delsing on 101 ESPN. Every Sunday from 8 to 10, you'll get the biggest names in golf, updates on the latest equipment and innovations in the game, and tips from a PGA Tour professional. That's Golf with Jay Delsing, every Sunday 8 to 10 on 101 ESPN.